Welcome, William.
Oh, hello, Rob.
On this momentous day.
What's happening today? What's happening?
I think it's worth letting people know that we're recording on the cusp of Donald Trump.
Don't tempt fate.
Getting in a lot of trouble.
I know I feel like that too, but don't tempt fate.
I'm not tempting it. I'm embracing it. We're recording just after Trump did his presidential speech talking about how everything's broken. And so if we seem distracted, it's because we're distracted.
We're not watching the news literally while we're doing this. We're just imagining the news.
Yeah, and I got to say, while I'm imagining it, I'm feeling special feelings. And a little bit of pity for Rick Santorum. But that's not what we're here to talk about. In early 2015.
5 years ago.
Yes, that was a test.
I'm just a math guy.
Bing.
5 years and a bit more, because you said early.
That's true. November, closer to 6 years.
November's not early.
No, it's late. 30-year-old Valery Spiridonov. Mm-hmm. Valery Spiridonov.
There is Spiridonov?
Valery Spiridonov, a Russian computer scientist.
Okay.
He decided to put his life in the hands of a controversial surgeon, Dr. Sergio Canavero. You heard of Sergio?
No.
Sergio's great.
But controversial and surgeon are words that do go together but shouldn't go together.
No, it's about success.
I don't ever want my surgeon, if I'm looking them up, going, okay, let's just.
How would you describe him?
Controversial.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Or her. I don't want controversial associated with my surgeon. Skilled hands.
No. The controversy is how it's just so controversial amongst colleagues why they're so successful.
Yeah, still
using nothing but kitchen cutlery and a little bit of metho.
I don't want that.
No. Well, look, Sergio,
the controversial surgeon.
Canavero, he said he could successfully perform this world-first operation on Valery Spiridonov.
Again, I'm not one that goes in for world-first operations.
No.
I get that most people that are don't necessarily get that choice. You know, you're in a position where you're going, okay, this is the only way. We're going to try it, but it's not my dream. It's not. No.
But you're the adventurous one.
Climb Mount Everest, had world first operation.
Yeah, I'll take A.
Yeah.
I'll take A for no dollars. So Spiridonov suffered at least at the time, still does, from a terminal muscle wasting disease. It's called, I believe, Verdning-Hoffmann disease. So it basically leaves your body compressed like an accordion, and you get rapidly declining health.
Hang on, give me more of a visual image.
Like he's got a head. And his body's just slowly kind of compressing and fucked, so it's hard to breathe. And
so what's happening to his bones at this point? So the bones are staying there, but he's collapsing.
It seems that way, yeah. When I had a little rummage around in amongst election updates, it was like the bottom line is you seem to kind of crumple.
Wow.
Life expectancy isn't good.
I'm not guessing.
So he said, I'm 30 years old now, but people rarely live to beyond 20 with this disease. So he's he's pulling a Stephen Hawking. He's not Hawking had a different disorder, but and he said he was scared the operation might kill him, but he was worried about the condition killing him even more.
Sure, I get it.
So people asked him because this is quite.
He's
famous.
in a situation already. So, yeah.
I said he said you have to understand I don't have a lot of choices. So he first volunteered to sign on for the Heaven, HEAVEN, big letters project. I'll tell you what that is in a moment.
It's
an acronym.
I know that acronyms can be whatever.
Anything.
But we're thinking about your afterlife, or
isn't that weird?
It's not great. Why not have an acronym that is like
Smudge?
No.
We're going to do a world first operation on you. It might kill you. How about Smudge?
I was going to say Onward to Happy Life, or like Burgers for Dinner, or something like that, where you just go. I'm just thinking. I'm
going to have burgers for dinner.
Of course you are. I know you are. It's Friday.
It's delicious. So he signed on to be the first volunteer for the Heaven Project, which is led by Canavero, the Dr. Sergio. At this point, Canavero and Mr. Spiridonov, when they first agreed, they hadn't met. But the prospective patient said he was committed to follow through the operation. Claims of this surgery had been met with...
They hadn't met? I mean, I know that...
No, they knew of each other, but they hadn't physically met.
Well, I also know that you can organise a lot of things by phone and email
Yes.
these days. I don't doubt it. But mostly, I want my doctors to physically inspect me.
Zoom surgery.
So if you're just describing yourself to your doctor and you say, I've got this real bad condition, and they're like, I've got a surgery for you.
I'm like an accordion. Can you fix me? Yes.
I want the healing hands to actually touch and see first.
You just need human contact.
I do.
You're a bedside manner kind of guy.
A little bit.
So they hadn't met. But the prospective patient, Spiridonov, had committed immediately. Claims of the imminent surgery, there was a range of reactions to this surgery, ranging from skepticism to outright horror. among medical and particularly ethics communities.
Oh,
that's relaxing, isn't it?
I was wondering whose other opinion was it? Medical ethics boards, definitely their opinion.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's the patient and the doctor. I was just wondering if this was like people out there in the street being horrified by this. But medical ethics boards, they can have their all.
Yeah, no, look, we'll get to the point where it'll come up later that religious types certainly had some questions too.
Jesus Christ, what surgery is this that the religious types are like? No.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to tell you.
I know you're going to get to
like,
it. You have to.
Dr. Canavero, he said, in the past, medicine that is now technically ready for such an operation to be successful, it should be successful now. The only hurdle remain the ethics of the operation.
Yeah, sure.
So he's saying it's all cool. We just need people to go, it's cool.
Yeah, which is fair enough for whatever this is. And I'm starting to get an inkling.
No, it's fine. It's good surgery. However, it is equally clear that horrible conditions without a hint of hope or of improvement cannot be relegated to the dark corner of medicine. So he's saying basically if you've got this disease and other such things, we can't just ignore it.
Sure.
We've got to offer people some hope. So the other major hurdle, according to at least one report, was the operation probably cost $10 million or more.
That's a lot.
It's a fair, even in America.
Yeah, I know, and I know that obviously first of its kind operation probably takes more than 15 minutes.
20 or 30 at least.
In the back of the doctor's surgery. I think I imagine there's a lot of equipment, special stuff, fair enough, but still, wow. That's
there's a lot of equipment, special stuff. Then in 2019, so 4 years later, Spiridonov had fallen in love. He'd married a woman, he'd had a baby boy.
Excellent. Hey, that's great.
I know. And it seems that he felt like he couldn't leave them alone because the months of recovery and rehabilitation after surgery would require, he'd have to be away and very severely impaired for a long time. Mm-hmm. So he pulled out. He said, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, okay.
Because he said, look, I've got my own things to do. In my life appeared a woman who I fell in love with.
My debilitating condition still here, but I'm coping.
He's like, I'm stable. Oh. I'm happily married. We have a beautiful kid. I'm in charge of my own company. So I can't wait around forever to see how my condition goes, etc. But, I've got to live my life, and which is fine. And critics of the procedure were relieved.
So the surgeon just came and did it anyway?
Yeah, he just did while he was asleep.
Look, you signed up, buddy.
You seem unconscious.
I got a form. Anesthetized and ready?
I don't want to give it away. No, so he said, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to do it. And critics of the procedure were relieved that it didn't go ahead, concerned that if he'd gone through with it, death might have been far from the worst outcome. What was the surgery? A head transplant.
There you go. Welcome to the Wholesome Show, the science podcast.
Yes.
For people who have one head, two heads, three heads.
As many as you want. You can have none.
As many as you want. Swap your heads around.
But do it up the back of the class.
Back of the classroom.
Do it up the back of the class.
Where we ask the stupid questions.
Including, can I get my head transplanted?
So that you don't have to, listener.
Why would you want to ask that question?
The Wholesome Show is me, Will Grant.
Me, Dr. Roderick Griffin. Leave my head wherever the fuck it is, please. Lamberts. I've read about this.
I got a middle name too. It's John.
You never use it.
I don't know.
And you forget to say doctor. That's why people don't think you're credible.
I know, they don't.
Don't believe me.
They believe my credibility comes from my ethos, my pathos. My pathos.
It's your voice.
Mythos.
It's your voice.
Is that it? Okay. The Wholesome Show is brought to you by the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science.
Yes, and it's a product of the G'day Studios, which
G'day Studios.
One day you're going to hear about.
One day. It will. Oh my God. Wow.
When we get our act together.
Yeah, but getting our act together is...
It's not part of our mystique.
We produce a couple of podcasts every week. We've
do.
basically got our act together.
That's true. We're quite together.
Basically. Head transplants.
So head transplants. Was that what you were hoping for?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, I did... Not instantly, but I was sitting there thinking, okay, body collapsing like an accordion. What's the surgery? Is it some? Is he going to sort of stretch him apart? Intense muscle relaxants into every
tuning.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm just going to tune your instrument.
Yeah, like I'm imagining one of those sci-fi surgery like it's injections of needles all over your body of muscle relaxants.
Wolverine shit.
And then I thought, no, that's way too hard. Far easier would just be to swap the head onto a different body.
Yeah.
So,
well, that was the plan. And what I like, first up, I got to get this out of the way straight away. I don't think it's a head transplant. I think it's a body transplant. Because basically, the donor wins here. You're not donating your head to a broken body.
No, indeed. You're donating the whole body to your
Exactly.
the locus of Rod in here,
Where the soul
gets a
is.
whole new body. You're getting a body transplant. Not a write to them and tell them bloody hell it's not.
I'm not the first to say this. You'd be amazed to hear.
Thanks, internet people. I love that there's the ethics committee saying, look, a lot of complications here.
Yeah.
We'll go into that later. Yeah. But first and foremost, it's body transplant, not a head transplant.
You clowns.
And I hope they had like a 4-hour argument about that afterwards.
Look, I didn't go down the 4chan on it, but there might have been. It was definitely, there's a few commenters, particularly intelligent types who talk in the media, and I will be referring to some of them presently, saying, look, it's a body transplant. And you're like, it is.
Fuck off.
It is.
Head transplant sounds better though.
But most people call it a head transplant, people in the know, in the community.
I don't doubt that there is an undergrad philosophy assignment on this. Is it a head transplant or a body transplant?
Take a moment. Whoa.
Glass half full, head half empty.
There is no glass.
There you go.
And there may be no head.
Maybe all transplants are actually somewhere in between.
Oh, it's a cross-fertilization.
Yeah, it's not just a heart transplant.
No.
The heart gets a new body too.
It's a love transplant, isn't it? Yeah. So, so irregardless.
Indeed.
That's going to be in the dictionary soon. Give it 3 years. I reckon it's going to be the next Oxford.
Maybe.
Fuck, it's hilarious.
Irregardless.
Seriously, I reckon kids, your grandchildren will use that.
It's a real word.
Normally.
It's become a real word.
They won't even know why you're laughing and or complaining and saying,
I'm not complaining.
Get off my fake
I don't complain about new words.
You're not older yet.
That's true.
Give it time. So let's look at a little bit of the history of chopping heads off and sticking them on other things, because why wouldn't you?
Okay.
You probably know all this, but it's for people listening at home.
I'm glad that you're going with the history. Tell me more.
So 1908, Alexis Carrel, who's a French surgeon, and he was into developing improved surgical methods to connect blood vessels.
Yes.
So particularly in the context of organ transplantation. So that's pretty reasonable.
Okay, fair enough.
He collaborated with an American called Claude Guthrie to attempt to graft the head of a dog onto an intact second dog.
At least he stayed within the dog world.
Yeah, that doesn't look for me. Doesn't make it much better.
I'm not saying it's good. But he didn't go dog on goat.
Like dog on pigeon. Why can't you fly, you lazy bastard?
Pigeon on dog.
Yeah, that's funny.
Huge dog.
Problem is,
tiny head.
The sutures would keep coming off because the pigeon would want to walk with the. So they grafted head, and they did it. Showed some of the reflexes early.
Live dogs, dead dogs.
Live.
Okay.
Yeah, there were some reflexes demonstrated on the grafted head, but quickly it deteriorated, and they. What would be the euphemism? They euthanized it.
So this very much reminds me of the Simpsons line. Marge, you've ruined a perfectly good jacket. No, Marge, I've ruined 2 perfectly good jackets.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It was. And look, I'm for all my carry on, I'm pretty strong stomached, and I can look at a lot of things and just sort of see them as images. But an image of one dog with a big, pretty dog with a spare head attached to it is fucking horrible.
You didn't say spare head.
They added a head to another dog.
It was a 2-headed.
Yeah.
Here's me imagining that they just swapped the heads.
Nope. That came off one dog and got attached to a full dog.
So they didn't even go into the spots where a head would go.
Nope. It was kind of above the other head on its sort of between its shoulders. It's fucking horrible.
No, that's worse.
Horrible.
Did you, I at least thought, okay, spinal column goes there.
Yeah. No,
the
not
earlobe
swapping.
cables go there. Whatever happens.
Exactly. You get a little bit of solder. Everything's fine. No. And I looked at the photo and I'm like, I can't feel. I'm trying to be science about this, but it just makes me feel bad.
Oh my God! Why didn't you? I mean, okay, maybe it's easier to do bigger sutures on a dog than it is with a mouse. Couldn't you have done mouse? Couldn't you have started with broccoli, something like that?
Yeah, swap a head of cabbage with a head of lettuce.
I'm not so troubled by that.
Less surgery too. No, it's horrible. Anyway, they did it. Carrel, the French guy, the vascular dude, he went on to get a 1912 Nobel Prize in medicine, but that was for the way he sutured blood vessels together, etc., because it was critical to transplants.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
In later years, he and Charles Lindbergh, the aviator
and fascist,
collaborated in building a glass heart and keeping organs removed from animals alive for a long period of time.
Glass heart, yeah,
fake hearts and stuff.
Okay, so it's pumping blood and it's made of, but not like a heart. Looks like a heart.
No, just a functional thing. And of course, as an aside, in the 1930s, Carell and Lindbergh championed political science views compatible with those of the Nazis, etc.
Yes.
Which wasn't super popular. Well, it was a bit, but not around America. However, Carell, anyway, he got his Nobel and he's still remembered for that. And Lindbergh's remembered for flying and losing a kid, right?
Not quite losing.
I accidentally let my child get kidnapped.
I think we're blaming the victim here a little bit.
Isn't that what we do now?
Yes, maybe.
Trump's Australia. 1954, Soviet surgeon Vladimir Demikov.
This is going to be great. I applaud the Soviets for many of their things, but they're not famed for their great surgery, I don't think.
No, they try shit. They found stuff out.
Yeah, okay.
They were in space first, man.
Yes, I know that.
Not with surgery. Grafted a dog's head and upper body, including the front legs, onto another dog.
The front legs.
You're like, what?
What bits were joined here? I'm going to need some diagrams here. Like, where
this I didn't have a picture of.
Can I do it with my hands? Is it?
I don't know. Like, does the head and the new front legs go between the legs of the original dog?
Or is that it's then a 6-legged dog?
Yeah. 6 legs, 2 heads. You pay extra for that. That's a special dog.
It's a dog.
But so they're really focused on. But I think part of the reason they did the legs as well is they were trying to look at attaching blood supply as well as nerves. So it was a test on that.
Again, dog or dogs were fine?
Absolutely fine. They lived normal lives. So the grafted body parts could move and react to stimuli for a while. And they generally, though, dogs, because it was more than one, they survive for a few days. But one,
okay.
They say one. By one, I think they mean 2.
Look, just in the experimental nature of this surgery, I think surviving for a few days is actually not that bad.
Or fucking hideous.
Yes, it's hideous, but I was expecting they just don't get anywhere. They just died.
Honestly, if you suddenly found yourself only with, from your tits up, attached to another human's body, you woke up, you'd be like, I don't think I'd be keen on living a long time. I may be wrong. Maybe it'd be delightful. Always having a buddy. But
I am deeply worried about being lonely. So,
this is perfect for you.
It's fine.
This is actually what this is about. This is an intervention. We can fix you surgically. So one of them survived for 29 days of hell. The animals, when they did die, essentially, if they weren't euthanized, it was basically rejection from the transplants.
Okay,
as you'd expect.
So rejection from the transplants, and that's a chemical reaction, which suggests physically they're joining stuff up and the blood's pumping around.
Yeah, it sounded like it essentially kind of worked.
That's a leap forward.
It's the 50s, that's what the Soviets were doing. 65-ish, a guy called Robert White did a bunch of experiments where he attempted to graft only the vascular system of dogs' isolated brains into existing dogs to see how to do it.
So what are we doing here? We're taking out the blood vessels and just putting them on?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And maybe the brain was... No, the brain was still attached. And he monitored brain and activity and metabolism and showed that you could maintain high levels of brain activity and metabolism and avoid any break in blood supply. So he basically was trying to test doing this. The animals would survive between 6 hours and 2 days. I'm going to go with the 6 hours ones were lucky. Equally gross as fuck.
You seem not a fan of this.
I like dogs.
I am down with that, but
I'm a dog guy. I'm going to give that to you.
You seem like you are against the idea of the head transplant in general.
I'm against science.
Sorry, body transplant.
You know that. I'm anti-science.
I don't think you are.
I'm just anti-fucking with dogs. I really, I can watch movies of rape, murder, and mayhem and politically horrible whatever. As soon as someone says the dog's going to die, I'm like, I'm out. I can't watch the movie. Well, I don't know why people would want to watch it.
That's why everyone empathizes with John Wick.
Yes.
They killed the puppy.
You don't kill the dog. Kill everyone around him as brutally as you want.
That's what made it serious.
But I agree. I literally, my wife says to me, do you want to watch Marley and Me? It's like, I heard the dog died. Fuck that. Why to watch a movie?
There's a website for
where
you.
a dog's going to die.
There's a website for you, doesthedogdie.com. I think it's just doesthedogdie.com.
That is my website.
Check every movie, or at least the instant you see a dog that isn't just a straight, but the dog has some sort of emotion.
Not
in the
an
movie,
incidental dog.
And then just go, all right, no, I need to know, does the dog die?
Yeah, it's true. It's like I can watch anything. I mean, I've watched some horrible things. I mean, for science. But if the dog dies, I'm out. Like people go, have you watched Red Dog? It's so beautiful. It's like, it's not beautiful. The dog fucking died.
Does it die? Sorry, spoilers.
Sorry.
Spoilers.
Oh, by the way, spoiler.
Spoilers.
Is this where I say trigger warning?
Sorry. Listener, look, we forget to say spoilers in advance.
Middle-aged white males.
Which is, yeah.
So it's terrible. In the 70s, White, the same guy, experimented cutting the head off a monkey and connected the blood vessels of another monkey head to it. About time the monkeys got in. This is the first time that kind of cephalic exchange had ever been done. Rhesus monkeys, lucky, never. If you're going to be reincarnated,
no.
be a rhesus monkey in the 70s. Apparently, the transplant had basic sensations such as smell, taste, hearing, and motor function. So the face reacted.
Hey, that's wow.
Yeah. So scientifically, I'm like, that's fantastic. Every other part of me goes, you disgusting monsters, I hate your guts. The monkey survived for 8 days.
Again, not bad. Like I still
Scientifically, not bad at all.
I'm applauding that.
Apparently, the such experiments were reported widely in the media. Imagine that, and it would appear some animal rights people, like some, weren't happy.
No, they weren't.
Go figure.
No, they weren't.
Go figure.
Again, because this is need of a new head.
Yeah.
I don't think is one of the pressing problems facing humanity.
Not a lot of us.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I could do with a head reduction because then I could
you know
wear
what?
more
You know,
hats.
it's not even. I know that medicine doesn't deal equally with all of the problems of the world. You know,
No.
what's the biggest killer in the world is malaria, and yeah, there's more money spent on.
Really? I thought it was what do you call it? Like ingrown toenails.
Well, there you go. Maybe. But you know, a lot of money is spent on the problems of rich white men. I get it. But even rich white men are not sitting there going, "Damn, got to swap this over. I want a whole body swap."
Although if we got better at it, we'd be doing it all the time. Speaking as a very wealthy white man myself. Do you want to work out or you just want a new buff body? It's like, oh, fuck it, I'll take the body.
Sure. Okay. I'm down with that.
If it had been done 80 bajillion times before.
You're not even in the second wave. You know.
Nope. No. You think about it. First, we're just going to snip your head off. Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Oh, no, after that, it's fine. So head transplant on animals didn't happen a lot for a while after this, so it became a bit unpopular as far as we're aware.
Because of the outcry, or just because
Yeah,
people
the outcry, the
weren't
grossness.
finding an actual reason to be doing it.
I think probably, no, there's always a reason.
No, there's not. I mean,
There's always a reason. Science.
except for science.
Science. So if we get back to Sergio Canavera, the heaven guy. So heaven is allegedly, and I don't see how this works, it's the acronym for head anastomosis.
Anus, head,
Anastomosis, which is,
head to anus,
yes,
head to anus to toes.
yes, just head to anus. It's ATM. They should just call it ATM. But it's asked to your own mouth. Look at you pretend you know what ATM is.
Yeah, like I did. You know,
There's a lot of niches out there, man.
I don't doubt it.
Go
I
and
don't doubt
explore.
it.
Dig around.
Yeah, do it. Floats your boat. Okay.
So it's called the Heaven Project for head anastomosis, and that means a surgical connection between two structures. Usually it means connecting tubular structures like blood vessels or loops of intestine.
Yeah.
So basically head connecting. So Canavero, our man who's going to do the thing, who got ditched by our Russian fellow because he fell in love. Ooh, chicks always get in the way of good relationships. You know that. That's why I always stay single.
Surgery.
Except for being in a long-term partnership, that's why I'm single.
You'd be doing this. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You would be having those adventures, riding your motorbike across the Himalayas, kayaking to New Zealand, getting your head swapped over.
I'd be doing anything that has bro in it.
All
anything.
of these things.
If it has bro in it or it can be put in there, I'll be into it, but no, I'm not. So he was born in 1964 in Turin in Italy as apparently a poor family. He described his upbringing as rough.
I'm imagining little violins.
Tiny violins.
No, or maybe like a clarinet. He's in Italy. That's a clarinet
yeah,
music.
Yeah, or a weird oboe. He did medicine at the University of Turin, as we all did. In the mid-'80s, he became a neurosurgeon at the University Hospital there, which is great. Good for him, neurosurgeon. He's legit. He has been described as having an idiosyncratic personality.
Of course. I could guess that without you saying that.
I know. But see, you're very sensitive.
Someone
You
who
tune
does
into things.
experimental first-of-a-kind surgery,
Yeah.
they kind of have to have idiosyncratic on
Yes.
their job description.
But I know what you mean is go-getter.
Sure, no, that's true. You could
Not
read it that way.
afraid
But I'm
stick
not
it to the
likely
man.
to read the words conservative, low risk taker,
Yeah, rule follower.
rule follower.
What do you want to do? I'm going to snip this guy's head off, right? What? So, for example, 2016 interview, he said things like this. He relishes being described as, quote, crazy as a bat.
That's a bat.
I know. Well, batshit crazy. It's a thing, or it was in the olden days.
I'll take batshit crazy.
Yeah, crazy as a bat. This is 2016, remember. He said he hadn't watched television since 1993.
What happened then?
He stopped watching television.
No, was there a program? Was there something? He's like, fuck that.
Yeah, they cancelled Knight Rider, and he couldn't take it anymore.
No more Knight Rider.
What happened to Kit?
I know.
I know what happened to David Hasselhoff, but what happened to Kit?
It was the big thing in Expo '88 when I went and saw Kit.
Kit was there.
Problem was just a little secret here.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch Knight Rider at the time. I think it was on the
Too violent?
It was on the other channel.
I was on the non-educational channel.
Well, I don't. Look, it could have been, or it could have just been that Mum was watching something else, or it could
That's
have been,
more likely.
or whatever it was.
She was watching one of her knitting shows on the ABC.
Yeah, no doubt. But Expo 88, they had kit there, and you could go and, and it was a talking car.
Oh.
This is off the charts. This is
So,
wild.
Michael.
But I didn't know anything about it. I was
Do you know, I think
like-
his was the same voice as the voice in Charlie's Angels. Bosley and Charlie's
Bosley.
Angels.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it was the same guy.
Well, there's only one voice actor in Hollywood.
Well, there was then.
Yeah, exactly.
Now there's two.
The 80s voice actor guy. And then,
Yeah. Bobcat Goldthwait. And Morgan Freeman.
See, why? See, there you go. See,
I'm sorry, Michael.
That's what I want in my kit. I want Bobcat Goldthwait driving for and then when you change into like fourth or something like that, then Morgan Freeman comes out.
Keep
and he's
it
like,
smooth.
voice of God.
I want you to keep it smooth. Come on. He doesn't own a car, and he felt a deep affinity with Spider-Man's nerdy Peter Parker.
Okay.
Also,
Spider-Man never did a head transplant.
Hasn't yet.
I don't think.
The Marvel Universe is not over.
No.
Give him time. He also practices jiu-jitsu, adheres to a strict Mediterranean diet.
He's Italian.
Yeah.
Like that's not a thing.
Well, it
like,
says that
he eats Italian food.
no bovine meat, so no cow, which isn't particularly Mediterranean.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Italian people that eat the cow. And
Yeah.
some of their famous dishes involve cow.
Yeah, first, get a cow.
Spaghetti bolognese
Cow.
and other.
Spaghetti bolognese is not Italian.
What? Stop it. All right, then steak Venetian.
The other
there
one.
You go.
What do you call it? Florentine.
A Florentine. There you go. No, the Florentine's biscuit. There is a Florentine
No,
steak.
yeah,
Florentine
yeah.
steak. It's
God,
the big
they're
fat
good.
steak.
Yeah, it looks like coastline of Norway.
And there was a sell-off the other year where they were selling the last ones ever.
What?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Something to do with the European Union stopping everything fun. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just making that up. I don't know.
But you said it credibly. He doesn't drink,
Okay.
which is good for a surgeon who's going to cut your head off and replace it. In a recent interview, this is in 16, he liked to reflect on his six-pack.
Reflect on it.
Yep. So for our...
And applaud to him if he's got the six-pack, all cool.
I think he does.
But
He looks
reflecting on
like
it
he
as
does.
opposed to, like...
You know, I was just sitting here, you asked me about my surgery, and I was just thinking, my God, I've got a six-pack.
Check it out. I mean, look at that.
Look
You
at
know?
me gut.
Or maybe he's wondering about it. He's just thinking, what does it mean about me?
Could I make it a seven-pack? Could I transplant one?
Just add a little...
I just want one down the middle.
One thing. What is even the word for one of the six-pack bits?
I don't know. A beer.
An ab.
An ab. Just one ab. Oh, he also wrote a book on the techniques of female seduction. Because you do.
Okay.
And you hear that and go, that's the guy I want to put my head on a different body.
Well, look, I would judge him by his surgery skills, but
Look, I'd judge him a little bit on the female seduction book.
no, I'm judging him separately on that. Separately.
There's two kind of
I'm just saying, if I'm choosing my surgeon,
Yeah, it's true.
I don't particularly want a misogynist, but I'm
Who said misogynist? He
Techniques-
loves ladies.
Yeah.
Some of his best friends, his mother was a lady. How dare you treat him that way? He's Italian. It's not my fault I tried to have sex with your wife in your house the first time I came over. I'm Italian.
It's almost like it's a culture.
I'm Italian. That's what we do. We
Yeah,
try to bone the ladies. It's not a pedophile.
Except for the gay Italians.
They're not pedophiles either, man.
No,
Jesus,
what I'm saying
back
is that
off.
they're probably not boning the
Not all gay Italians are pedophiles.
or ladies.
Or ladies,
I
yes.
don't know where'd this thread go. What are we talking about?
Anyway, after 22 years as a neurosurgeon, including, this is at his Turin University, including being the director of the Turin Advanced Neuromodulation Group, you know the one, his contract was terminated in February of 2015 due to controversies.
Gross malpractice.
No, not that specific. I think it was more the kinds of researches he'd like to do made them go, we don't like those.
Too controversial.
That's the feeling.
Okay.
So he was made an honorary professor by Harbin Medical University, which is in the Heilongjiang province in China.
Great. Famed for medical ethics.
Fuck yeah. They invented ethics.
Okay.
They're the Confucian Institute of Medical Ethics. I'm just trying to use my best Trump fingers here because he's gone.
Don't jinx it.
Unrelated.
Don't jinx it.
Allegedly. At the university, he began collaborating with Xiaoping Ren of the Knights of Ren.
Oh,
It is even spelt that way, at least in Anglophone writing.
That's not a big claim.
You kidding? Knights of Ren. That means he knew Ben Solo.
I don't know any about that.
Star Wars, man.
I only half paid attention to the last few movies.
What you need to do is eat the marijuanas and watch it a lot. A friend of mine told me.
But the whole watch it a lot bit. Like that's
come
that's where I
on.
got stuck.
Come on. It's huge.
I liked him, but
I liked them. I can't even look at you anymore. So he collaborated with Wren on, one quote, ethically dubious and some might say morally repugnant head grafting work.
Please tell me this is how they set up their collaboration agreement.
Yeah, pretty much.
Staff meeting. They're like, okay, who's working on feet?
Yep.
You guys go work on feet. Yep. Anyone on lungs? And we'll get the ethically dubious group over here.
Yeah, we got this new guy. Anyone want to join him? Fuck yeah.
Brainstorm some ideas.
Yep.
Okay, what are the ethically dubious ideas that we can put up?
And I want really dodgy guys. I don't want gentle.
Out there. Any ideas you've got?
I want ethics committees to run out of the room throwing up when they read your stuff.
All of them. Put them down. No idea's a bad idea. We'll workshop that later.
Exactly. There are no bad ideas, only fuckheads like you. So, yeah, morally repugnant, according to some head grafting work. So in 2012, Wren published a work which he grafted the head of a mouse onto another mouse's body. Like you were saying, why not start with mice?
Yeah.
Because no one gives a shit about mice.
Or broccoli, but okay, next step.
Yeah, broccoli and people, like the transfer, when they did antibiotic tests and stuff on broccoli, they put it in humans, it didn't work the same way.
I get it.
I didn't mean to ruin that for you.
I'm just saying there's a pathway here.
There is a pathway.
All right, start with mice.
Yeah, why not?
Or worms, all right.
They don't really have heads.
Yeah, they do.
Am I being wormist?
What's the front bit? Like the mouth, if you got a mouth, you got a head.
Is that right?
Yeah,
But if you got a head, do you have a mouth?
Whoa.
Universal affirmatives are only partially convertible.
Yeah, you got halfway through there.
Yeah, I forgot the word. It's rote. I don't know what it means, but I heard it in a Monty Python sketch, so it must be good. So he focused on how to avoid harm from the loss of blood supply. So during this protocol in 2012, he grafted the heads on a whole bunch of mice, and some of them survived for up to 6 months. So he had some successes.
He's doing well. So are we doing the proper? Is this still the one head plus head, or are we doing the swap head?
I'm not sure.
Look, because the end goal here, still, as I said before, is never going to have the two heads. It's got to be.
It's not really a goal, is it? It's Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Yeah, exactly. But that is not a legitimate goal.
Also, I realize I'm calling Xiaoping Ren he, but I don't know if that's true. It could be a lady.
Okay.
Or other.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he because I assumed because it's China and it was that kind of time.
Again, you don't need to clarify your assumptions. Your assumptions are your own.
That's true. There you
go.
I can learn. 2013, not easily. In 2013, Cannavero published a protocol that said he would make a human head transplantation possible. So 2013, he's saying, I got this protocol. This is how it's going to work. It's going to happen. It's going to be great.
What does a surgical protocol look like? Is this like a big manual? It must be.
Yep.
First, we swab. First.
Yeah.
First,
wash hands.
Clean.
First, go to medical school.
Yeah, but you know what, let's get a bit closer to the room.
Yeah,
First, okay, we're going to need to shave the neck, and we're going to need to clean the neckle area. And
can you imagine that?
Slice 1, slice 2, slice 3,
nice
slice
iodine sort of smear around it.
Jesus. But when you start to think about all of the different bits that you got to do, you do a little slice and you're hooking them up to the some sort of glass heart jobby, and another slice, and then you're getting all the way down into, and then you get to bone and you get the bone saw out, then you get the spinal saw out for preserve all of this and then cover it in Glad wrap.
Grab the tin snips for the nerves, fresh ones from the hardware store. You don't want dirty ones. It'll be detailed. Well, no, it should be detailed. I don't know that it was. I mean, if I published a protocol for that kind of transplantation, I would hope it was 1,000 pages long.
Sure.
But I don't know if it was.
Or other way around, maybe it's the surgeon's code of this is an art, man.
So it's just a picture.
You just got to learn this is the beginning state and this is the end state. Imagine the path in between, and you'll be fine.
We'll give you 2 pages. The first one, there's a head on a body. Remove it. Page 2, put it on a different body.
Join it up.
Yeah.
Et voila.
Like a magic.
Look, I get. Everything. Here's your surgical principle. Everything that is cut needs to be joined to something else.
Fuck yeah.
So
how hard's that?
Join stuff that looks similar to similar stuff.
Yes. And the rest of it, make it your own. Yeah. Work with it.
Yeah.
You're the pro here.
Trust nature to do some healing as well. Like, don't expect that you have to be God here.
You do.
Nature's going to be your partner in solving this problem.
Nature is your co-pilot, even more than Jesus. Not for me, obviously. I'm very, very into that. 2015, Wren published work in which he cut the heads off mice but left the brain stem in place. then connected the vascular elements of the donor head to the recipient body. So we're fucking with elements of brains and nerves and blood supply. I wanted to see if it was possible to keep the body of the recipient animal alive without life support, which is probably a good goal. Prior to the experimental work, all this kind of work involved removing the recipient's body's head, cut off at just down below the second bone in the spinal column.
Wow.
So the head's basically just, until that one, you just slice the head off.
Okay.
This one was trying to take some of the nerves and bits and pieces with it.
And leave some stuff there and some stuff not there.
Yeah. Rather than just kind of do a clean cut. And so Cannevaro's idea was a clean cut for the head transplant. So in 2015, Cannavaro says, I'm close to successful human head transplants, and detailed a rough version of the proposed procedure again. Numerous scientists and surgeons responded with, I'm gonna summarize. Okay, mate. Good on ya.
What's he funded on while he's doing this? Like, is
Chinese money.
Is there a philanthropist?
Opium and soybeans.
Maybe.
Harvard University is probably from...
Or is he doing regular foot surgeries at the time while he's saving up to do the big thing?
I don't think so. I think it was all researchy work, but I could be wrong. Research is, of course, broadly construed.
Oh, look! Maybe he's a regular blood vessel surgeon, and this is just within his...
Dabbles in decapitation and restoration.
This is my future.
So he outlined his transplant technique that he intended to follow in the journal Surgical Neurological International. I love that journal. I'm missing one episode. Once I get one volume, and when I get that, I got the set.
Sweet.
I'm going to make millions.
Get a prize.
Yep. And he said he planned to launch the project at the annual conference of the American Academy of Neurological Orthopedic Surgeons. ANOS. So close to...
Not quite.
My 15-year-old me. Invited other researchers to join him in his, quote, head transplant dream. So at the time, apparently it sounded ridiculous, and it still does, according to many, but the difference was he actually found himself a living, breathing volunteer to be the first guinea pig from this, which was our Russian buddy. In January 2016, so we're moving forward a year, he put out a press release claiming to have done a successful head transplant on a monkey who supposedly survived the procedure without any neurological injury and was kept alive for 20 hours.
Not a long time.
Success.
That's not success.
No. Or yes. Science.
Still.
But the spinal cord in the monkey was not rejoined and the monkey was unconscious the whole time.
Yeah, again, even less success than before.
It's a bit low, isn't it? Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm calling excellent. We moved to humans in 2017.
Really?
Mm-hmm. At a press conference in Vienna, he said a surgical team led by Wren had transferred the head of one human cadaver and connected it to the body of another cadaver.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, in an 18-hour operation which successfully reconnected the spine, nerves, blood vessels, etc. He didn't say etc. I'm just, using that late.
Yeah, fair
term.
enough.
It's for the people.
We don't need all the details. We know that there's stuff.
Hang on, I got 20 more pages I can.
Yeah.
So this is what he claims on cadavers. A little bit of reality checking. Because why wouldn't we? We're fact people. We're factists. Not fascists, factists. So in The Guardian, 2017, neuroscientist Dean Burnett, known as, I think, Garboy on Twitter, he's quite prolific.
Okay.
He writes popular as well as real stuff, books, etc. on neuroscience. He said that head transplant procedures present challenges that are beyond the ability currently known in science, and that Cannavaro has, quote, offered no feasible explanation or science for his claims to be able to overcome these hurdles. So he's basically said balls, and more balls. He remarked particularly on the recent successful human one and said it's on corpses. And this is a quote from him, "Call me a perfectionist if you must, but I generally think that any surgical procedure where the patient or subject dies before it even starts is stretching the definition of success."
Yeah, but...
he's fussy.
He is, and also don't worry about it. I'm kind of much happier with trying it out on corpses.
Oh, ditto. If you're going to buy it, start with already dead.
Exactly.
I got no beef with that.
At least then okay, how many nerves are we going to join up here? Like, the numbers aren't going to be different.
It makes sense.
Sure, it's pumping blood at the time, and you want to keep it alive. Big difference there. But
yeah, but look, the Cannavaro has a reputation for proclaiming
grandiosity.
Things. Yes, part of his eccentric personality. So maybe the procedure did make a good show of attaching the nerves and blood vessels, says Dean Burnett. But so what? So he's very not down with this. It's just a start for what's required in the bodily working system. So he says, for example, you can weld two halves of different cars together and call it a success if you like. But if the moment you turn the key in the ignition, the whole thing explodes, not so great.
Yeah, fine. But he is ignoring that the process of science is experiment before you get to the,
Yeah, also...
He's just building his scale model. Leave him alone.
Bodies don't need keys.
Yeah, again.
So he doesn't understand bodies or cars, or science or cars. He said, look, perhaps some of the techniques used to preserve the heads and attach them have some scientific value. We agree. That's us. But it's still a far cry from the idea of someone wandering around with a fully functional body that isn't the one they were born into. Like, no, okay, whatever. He's grumpy. There are a few crucial details that he brings up. For example, the human body is not modular. I.e., you can't just swap bits around like you would Lego blocks. So take a piece from a castle, put it in your pirate ship. Boom,
it's complicated. Yeah, okay.
It's
okay,
complicated.
Your brain, the bit of your neck is a bit more complicated than a Lego. Sure.
And we know even with basic transplant, or what we'd call basic transplants now, there are issues.
And they indeed, as you say, what we call basic transplants, they must have been incredibly difficult in their first go. Even more simple things.
Very. So there are many obstacles when you want to link a head to a body, even when they're the same person. To attach a completely severed...
Same person?
Even if it was exactly the same thing.
Okay,
like if
you've had your head cut off.
Whoopsie, I was shaving.
An accident.
I was shaving, I sneezed, my head came off.
Put it in milk straight away.
Cold milk though.
And then,
cold milk.
Yeah, get to the hospital.
Yep.
Put it back on.
Yep.
Probably don't drive yourself.
Well, no, you put it in rice at the hospital to get the moisture, the extra milk out of the way.
Yeah,
and then, don't drive yourself, no. That's dangerous.
Then put it back on.
Yep. So even that apparently would be tricky.
Oh, no doubt. No bloody doubt.
Rumours have it.
I mean, how many times have they tried that?
Oh, 11.
Because I'm thinking that most surgeons that are seeing corpse on that side, well, no, okay, let's say body, seeing as we do, and head over
in a
there
bucket on the
are
floor.
going, look, I think we might have missed our moment here.
Doctor, is there anything you can do for us?
See, the idea of spending $10 million to going, okay, all right. Well, look, and maybe there are surgeons that are thinking, this is my opportunity. If I can bring someone back to life by sewing their head back on and then doing CPR to bring them back in.
God damn, I'm going to come close to a Nobel.
I will get runner-up Nobel, no doubt.
That's true. You get the $5,000 prize and a spoon.
But it would be a lot of work to convince all of your colleagues to say, this is our chance, let's do this, rather than, I'm sorry, family, but it's not happening.
Tell you what, you go out and tell the family he's dead, but hear me out.
There's a chance.
We take the head out of the bucket.
Do it anyway.
We wipe the milk off it.
He's alive.
We whack it back on.
He's alive. Don't worry.
Exactly. Staple gun, soldering iron, boom. So Burnett goes on to say, look, attaching a completely severed spinal cord and a fully adult one at that onto a different one that's maybe been dead for days, that seems a bit... And he says there's at least 4 miracles required.
God doesn't do so many at once.
Without even thinking about immune rejection. We don't know how to fix damaged nerves yet very well, or better yet, reconnect them. You've got problems with what would happen if you... As he puts it, the interface between a head and a body is fairly unique. Excuse me. So you put the head of a musician, this is his words, you put the head of a musician onto a bodybuilder. It may well prove to be like
Why are we mixing this up straight away?
I think that's what he wants. He's probably a muso and he wants to be buff.
Yeah, I get it.
I've never seen him, but my guess is he's probably not a huge guy. He probably got picked on at school.
I have always wanted to be bodybuilder. I
want to be huge.
So I go to the gym, dude.
Yeah, I can play the mouth organ. Harmonica. That's what my old man called it. He's saying if you put the head on the musician of a bodybuilder, here's his analogy. It may well prove to be like trying to play an Xbox game on a PlayStation. That's my go-to. Except infinitely more traumatic. How could it be more traumatic than that? I want to play Halo.
It doesn't work.
But this isn't playing.
It doesn't go in. It doesn't work. It's an analogy that works, but it's kind of a boring one.
It's
you had an opportunity here for a really funny analogy.
Yeah. He's got better ones.
It's trying to make the pigeon dog or something like that.
Yeah, he could do better. He also says Cannavero seems convinced he can do it, but thus far he's offered no feasible explanation or science for his claims to be able to overcome all these hurdles.
So I think Cannavero he's just getting. He's a how hard could it be?
He's an ideas man.
Like he's like, well, why don't we try?
Yeah,
can't be that hard.
Yeah, and if it goes wrong, guy's fucked anyway. But according to Burnett, so Carnarvo basically is quite cavalier about it. He says, look, he's just offered some token ideas about preserving tissues and ensuring blood supply continues. Like, blah, blah, blah. This is maybe a better analogy.
I'm loving the concept of this is what all of his colleagues are thinking.
Yeah.
That they dive into a surgery and Cannavaro is like, okay, I'm all set up in my scrubs. I'm all looking good. He starts slicing. Oh, fuck. Whoa.
No, turn him going, no, just reconnect it.
And 3 hours of him splashing around in
gore.
And just everything going wrong because there was no setup for everything. Oh, no.
How did it go?
Glad to have more. Get me the milk.
Look, it was experimental. I'm going to say in the end, science was the winner.
And I know surgeries obviously do go wrong sometimes.
There are times.
But the possibilities of catastrophically going wrong.
Oh, fuck me.
I'm imagining it's like a Benny Hill scene in an abattoir and trying to stop.
That's some of his best work.
And trying to get the blood back into a cow. Like,
put your finger here, quickly. While he's slapping the little old guy on the head and watching a woman's underpants fall off.
I really hope that there is a hospital PA sound system that they have to start playing.
When you hear this.
But they do. I mean, all surgeons work to music these days. Whether there's that famous heart surgeon or brain surgeon that works to ABBA or something like that.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's ABBA. But there's other stories of
surely Slayer.
How good would that be?
Are you ready to go? Okay, I feel good now.
But there's a whole bunch of science saying that it gets them in the zone. Like if you,
I get that. Your music of choice.
Yeah. Put your music of choice when you want to get in the zone, and let's let the surgeon concentrate. But here, sorry, Cannavaro, you have to have Benny Hill music.
Well, that could be. It's the subtle warning, so the patients and their families in the hospital don't realise. They think it's a bit jolly, but everyone else who's in there goes, "Oh, Jesus, that means someone shit the bed again." He's just squirting blood and gore everywhere.
Gradually, all the attendants, all the assistants are just sort of bailing and just
on a shuffle quietly. When you just kind of shuffle, dignified, towards the OR.
I've been reading Moby Dick. I finished it a little while ago.
Still.
No, I finished it a little while ago. But anyway, there's a good scene of description of all of the blood and gore of what they're doing. Of whaling. And there's volumes. Like, obviously they're big animals. And so I'm imagining, with these big blood sores and it's splatting everywhere.
Hang on a minute. I'm imagining sparks and shit flying out. I was like, why do you need an angle grinder? It's a human body. So according to Burnett, the idea that you could do all this stuff, and he's very cavalier about the details, he says it's a bit like someone claiming they can build a working fusion reactor, and when they're asked how, they explain how they're going to plumb the toilets for the technicians who are going to work there.
Okay.
Arguably a useful step, but not clearly the main issue.
Yes, one of the steps.
Yeah, well, look, they need a place to poo.
Yeah, indeed.
While they're building the fusion reactor.
We're going to need like a building. There'll be a fusion reactor in the middle of a building. So it's going to have some walls, some windows over there. You need some offices, front reception, phone lines, internet probably.
And what we're going to have is a machine that mimics the power of the sun and generates more energy than put into it.
Yeah, that'll be in that room there. I'm
going to handle the dunnies.
Yeah. Don't you?
Which means I know how this Tokamak reactor works. Tokamak. You know the ones I mean.
I do.
Other obstacles. I found a paper written by a Greek guy in 2019 from Medica, a journal of clinical medicine. Sounds real. He said there's other obstacles. Obstacles is his word. Donor body selection. There is no system for this anywhere in the world.
You have to have a very precise donor.
Yeah.
Motorbike incident where literally that's what's happened. But then you've got to get the glad wrap and the milk.
You do.
Really quickly.
Very quickly. And we'll get to some other details in a moment. The head and body interventions on the recipient and the donor. So, like, you need mega surgical skills, huge team of people who are coordinated to the nth degree. Surgeons, neurosurgeons, neck, vascular, cardiothoracic, orthopedic, plastic surgeons. The preparation would be insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
And getting it to actually happen. Because if one of the surgeons is sick on that day.
Yeah, like we've got 800 people on the team. We're all ready to go. Someone's just died. Only the head's come off. What are we going to do? Oh, no, Keith's on holiday. And he was the critical guy. Spinal fusion and spinal cord reattachment, not easy. Even down to the most interesting thing about nerve stuff, I think, is the cleanness of the cut. You need like the world's sharpest knives. It's got to be very, very precise and small. So that's an issue. So because you got to reconnect axons and stuff, so the cut's got to be perfect. And then you've got to somehow join them. And
axons are pretty small as well.
They're not
they
big.
kind of need a precise, but
yeah.
one axon, as you said before, you know, it's not modular. One axon is not going to go to another axon. You imagine
you got 3 left over. But where do I put these?
But it's not like there is guaranteed like 10,000 axons going through there. Like it's going to be a weird number, and our own brains are going. Could you imagine the amount of if this is successful? So you've successfully attached all the nerves and all the blood vessels.
Yep.
The rehab for this, you'd have to learn everything from day one.
Yep.
I'm sure you're going to cover that.
That does come up. In fact, the next point.
There you go. I'm like
post-operative issues.
Clean-up. Clean-up's going to be rough.
Exactly. We're going to need extra strength bleach. The patient would have to be monitored in intensive care, ventilators, circulatory support. The stability of the head and the spinal column would be super important for fuck knows how long. Like, if a person accidentally turned their head even, they would have to be probably, I assume, kept in a coma.
No, but it's a big thing for little babies. Like they don't have neck control. And
the heads come off.
I think
boom,
you
donor
have to
body.
Learn all of that again.
Yeah, like big time.
What if you did very different age bodies? Like
this comes up. I mean, like we'll get to that. So the whole idea, they're saying you'd have to start the kind of protocols for quadriplegia.
Yeah,
how do you treat people who are recently made quadriplegic? Neurogenic shock because of the alteration to all the basic systems, sympathetic nerves, the vagus, major nerves, etc. The changes of that would be phenomenal.
Catastrophic to your brain. Catastrophic. Yeah. I'm getting signals that mean I'm farting, but actually it means I'm lifting my hand.
Yeah, it means my fingers point. Yeah, like unbelievable.
God.
Yep. I think I'm digesting, but I'm actually reading.
All of it screwed.
Yeah, everything restarted. On ethics, by the way.
Whatever.
So there's criticisms, things like this one person who's a bit of an apologist for this sort of stuff says, look, first kidney and heart transplants, people saying, you're playing God, violating the rules of nature.
Oh, no, what a voice.
Yeah, but that worked.
Playing God.
Yeah.
Like still.
That's my Greek accent.
Yeah,
Stop playing God.
What if you're successful at playing God, though?
I got no beef with that.
Well, see, they were successful at it.
Well, this hasn't happened.
No, as in like the kidney transplants and stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly. They were, but they're saying, and he's said, in the history of medicine, many people have initially gone, "This is fucking balls, you're terrible," and then it worked and fine. Ethicists also said, with every risk, the first volunteer for any of this thing would potentially end up demented or dead. True. Arthur Kaplan, a bioethicist,
Are they allowed to say demented still? Like, is that a?
Well, this isn't still. This is a few years ago.
Is that a term that we're big on?
Maybe it's translation error. Google Translate.
Okay, cool.
I blame that. So yeah, this guy Kaplan is a bioethicist. He says head transplants are fake news. This is writing in 2017.
I'm believing that now. Yeah. I'm thinking more and more that
it's a bit dodge.
Oh no! I can't imagine a world actually where the physics, the biology, the medicine, and the economics all line up, and the ethics and the politics all line up to make it actually happen. I'm getting more and more to the place where
you're limiting your thinking, man.
No, I just don't think it's going to happen.
That's just negative vibes.
Yes,
that's Xenu getting in the way.
Oh, stop it.
Here, take this pamphlet. Do this course. I can help you. It's going to take $9.5 million and 6 years.
I don't have it.
So yeah, head transplants are fake news. Those who promote such claims and who would subject any human being to unproven cruel surgery merit not headlines but contempt and condemnation. He's not happy about it. He calls what Canavera's done is basically science through public relations, because he often announces things without having them checked at all by anyone. Very relaxing. So he calls it one long publicity tour, and a bioethicist called Paul Root Wolpe from Emory University. We all know that one.
That's right.
Yep. He said, look, intentionally decapitating a person in the hopes of translating it to another body would also, quote, walk a fine line between medical care and murder.
Well, look, yeah.
But murder's just an idea.
Sure.
It's cultural.
That's a fine line.
It's cultural.
I'm on this side of the line. Don't worry.
And he said that. He said fine line. Like he wasn't being outrageous. Psychosocial considerations. The social services you'd need. So you need long-term therapy and rehab. You would need then unemployment care, healthcare insurance, blah, blah, blah,
Sure,
blah,
they'd be
blah.
Employable soon.
Yeah.
20 minutes, 20 days later.
You put him on stage and go, look at the freak. Look at the freak.
Oh, no, I was just going to put him in a job. Regular job.
Job keeper?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Job trapper? So there are a lot of issues with that. Psychological aid, imagine that.
No, can't believe it.
So the confusion about the relationship between your body and your identity would be an issue.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yes.
So I was thinking about this episode as I was in the shower and I was looking down at my Adonis-like form and going,
I know.
Imagine, regardless of whether it was hot, whatever, just going, that's not my hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my knee. That's not my excellence.
And indeed, but also being revulsed by that as well. Like at some point going, even if it's a better specimen, just going, but no, my brain is just doesn't
imagine looking at your old champ and going, that's not mine. I've got another dude's dick.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Maybe that's just me, but it would just be odd.
It's almost like our identity is not purely just in the mind, that it almost might be formed by our physical presence.
See, this is what happens when you go to uni for too long.
I know.
You think weird shit.
I do like the idea of you rehearsing the story and thinking it in the shower and looking at yourself, just going, but no, this is Rod. This is all Rod.
It's true.
I could handle maybe, if you put something on the inside, like a new kidney or something,
baboon
like that,
heart, fine.
Yep. I won't have to see it. But if you swap out my arm with an arm with an awesome metal arm, that'd be cool. But
robot, fine. Yeah. Human. Well, they said that with that first hand transplant guy a few years back. He was a bit wigged out, looking at the hands and going, they're not mine.
Hands, those little diagrams, what percentage of a brain is taken up by your sense organs.
The homunculus
diagram. Yeah, that kind of thing. Like your hands and your tongue are huge because so many sense organs compared with like your back of your knees or something like that.
Fingernails.
Hands are crucial.
Yeah.
Like I would be deeply troubled. Like
you wake up in the night and it's touching you in a weird way, violently or otherwise. You're like, is that me or is that the hand donor? So there's confusion about that. There could be self-esteem issues, cosmetic reasons. Are there scars in weird places?
Self-esteem issues.
I know, imagine that.
If we're at the level of just worried about their self-esteem, like we've progressed quite well here.
Yeah, you might feel a little bit down or a little bit like you're not quite who you were. You're like
not quite fitting in. Not quite fitting in anymore when you have a whole new body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
Imagine even if you're like 3 inches taller or shorter.
Well, you would be. Not necessarily, but you're gonna be a bit different.
Look what it did to Darth Vader. He got made a lot taller when he got put into the suit.
Did he?
Yeah. Anakin Skywalker was normal height. Darth Vader, 6'9". That ain't normal, man. So there's all that psychological age you need. And I love this one was called. I like this term. Secondary issues.
We've got so many first issues, primary issues here.
Yeah, but these actually, I didn't think about some of these. And
it's fine. Let yourself off the hook.
Oh, no, it was great because I was reading it going, I thought, how much more is there? Oh, fuck, yeah, fair call. Legal obstacles. For example, if you have a head transplant and you have a kid.
It's not your sperm.
Yeah, whose kid is it? What about inheritance then? Who owns?
Well, it's certainly not your DNA that you're giving on to them.
Absolutely not. Unless there's some kind of weird munging.
No, there wouldn't be.
You're not an idiosyncratic Italian surgeon. How could you know?
I am not. But surely the balls aren't changed, and they'd be making. Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't think of legal ramifications.
Yeah, but the other guy's dead. So
nonetheless, that they would have family who are related to that body.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah,
as would the head be related to a different family.
And like the adoptees finding about their genetic heritage. You would be head parent.
Yeah.
In the intellectual sense, but body parent, the other person is the DNA parent.
So like when you say I gave birth to you, if you're a female recipient, was it you?
Well, yes.
And no. Whoa.
I know. How can things be two things?
Like one of the secondary issues, possible religious barriers. Really?
Well, I don't know if it was ever written down in the Bible that thou shalt not
have a head transplant.
Thou shalt not swap thy body for someone else's body.
Only spiritually. What about the idea of transplanting the head of a man onto a woman?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and or
a black
race,
woman onto a white guy. Yeah, all these sorts of things. And again, it's so obvious when you stop and think about it.
This is the interesting thing that I feel it's interesting. We're at a place in society where we are far more comfortable, probably legitimately, but there's still cultural issues here with the idea of intersex, transgender, gender affirmation, those kinds of things. Yeah. But far less comfortable with those people that like Dolzeel and things like that who make a an intellectual transition, shall we say.
Oh, is that the woman who decided she was black?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing to me is that we work with have far harder constructs around race now than we do around gender.
Yeah.
I think that wasn't the same a while ago. But this just blows. What are you then?
Oh, big time. And I mean, honestly, science, blah blah blah. These to me are the interesting questions. The other one, and this one I definitely hadn't thought of. What is success? So an angle I hadn't thought of at all is if you've got a quadriplegic, someone who's already paralyzed but they're going to die,
okay,
you transplant their head onto another body so they don't need life support and they live, but they're still a quadriplegic. So that's still success in a sense because they've stayed alive in a state they already were in.
This really comes back to the economics of it, and it makes me
Look at you.
Let's
see what the markets are saying.
No, but it makes me horrible. That's not the friggin' market. It's not the friggin' market because the market will actually find a way to make this happen.
Oh, they'd love it. Yeah,
it's the justice to the world where you go, okay, sure, we're going to spend lots and lots on solving this one, and that's horrible.
$10 million bucks plus for one human. Yeah,
and
that's just the procedure.
I don't want to be that person, and I recognize we all want to live as the best lives we can, but Jesus, come on. There's a lot of other ways that we can spend our money in this world, and there's a lot of other deserving people as well.
But it does make you think about like what constitutes success, because until I read that point, I was like, okay, success equals your body works.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who can't use their body anyway, they're dying because the body's shutting down, and so they're strapped to machines or they're just going to die, and you go, we'll strap you to a different body. You're still just a head, really. But now you will live longer. I think that's a cracker. That one made me go, oh, nice. That's messier than almost all the others in some ways.
It still comes. I mean, for me, it's the in this idea of what is success. What are we aiming towards in a society? Should we aim for these weird, esoteric, far fringes of medicine, or should we be focusing on other things? I'm
going to go with. Both.
Or then flip it around. It's like the people that what if we get to a place where some people can live forever? With this stuff is not.
We're going to get that. There's going to be that whole what is it called? Altered carbon sort of situation where.
Well, this is
the wealthy can do it. Yeah. There's no question that'll happen at least for a while.
But you know what that means for wealth. It is not only the wealthy can do it, but you get levels of inequality that just go off the charts.
Multi-generational, as it were.
Well, in the sense that then you have, instead of that one person passing their wealth on to their 3 kids and it being divided by 3 then divided by 9, they keep it. Yep. So you have intense levels of inequality where you get literally the super rich multi-quadrillionaires and no one else. So
1,000%.
But then all you have to do is kill them all.
Is that all you got to do?
Yeah, it's weird.
Thank you.
I know.
Something I can work with.
Sometimes the revolutionaries...
Sometimes cunts got to die. That's how it is. I get it. So, let's think about how this all ends up. So, as Canavero was saying, Mr. Spiridonov was basically the poster boy for the Heaven Project. So he contributed, as Canavero said, immensely to the cause. He could have been a candidate when we were in Russia had the local government green-lighted the procedure. You're like, no. He said no, mate. But he said, however, he was never a candidate for the body swap once it moved to China, quote, for obvious cosmetic reasons.
I
think it's Little Dick.
No, Jesus. Jesus. Can't do that, man.
I said it so you didn't have to.
No, you didn't have to. No one had to. No, is this the race mixing politics?
Well, I don't want an Asian body. What does that mean?
The Russians didn't. Maybe the Russian guy didn't.
But it's no different whether I call it. I like
it's is it the Italian surgeon saying obviously it's impossible now.
Of course, it's
no, there's no way.
Cosmetic reasons.
No Russian would want to have Chinese body.
He would not look as pretty as he did.
He suddenly became from
Russian.
Russian.
Well, it's because he's had head transplant.
This is the boundary. This is the boundary that we cannot cross. No.
I'm putting a Russia guy's head on a Chinese guy. That's ridiculous.
Australian guys on Australians, Russians on Russians, Chinese on Chinese, all good. Once you get heads mixing on different race bodies.
You put a Dane on a Swede and shit goes wrong. That
will fuck the world.
The world is gone.
Fuck the world.
Yep. Apparently Canavero's people assured the press that the candidate list and volunteers remains quite long. So then there was an interview
I
with
don't
him.
doubt there are people in horrible situations.
Of course there would be. Like, of course, the desperate people would do desperate things. There was a Business Insider piece where they, in 2017, interviewed him. This is Canavero talking on his own behalf, which is an excellent idea. I'm into life extension. Life extension and breaching the wall between life and death. So he imagines a future in which healthy people could opt for full-body transplants as a way to live longer and eventually putting their heads onto clones. Now, that's a different story.
But it
in
is
terms
a
of the
story.
transplant, but it's the same as what you say. It's still going to be the mega wealthy, at least at first, etc.
Whatever.
Yeah. He said he hopes one day the procedure will create a near-death experience, actually a full-death experience, and see what comes next.
What?
So what he's saying now, he's going full Trump on this.
And you know what else I can do? I can prove heaven is real or not.
Yeah,
you know,
it sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I'll
Yeah.
swap the bodies, then heaven. That's next.
And then they come back and we've got it. To do this, do these things, he hopes to use electricity.
Jesus Christ. What is the power of electricity? Like, is he literally an 1850s guy? This is
bit.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Like the power of electricity.
Yeah, let me give you a quote. For spinal cord fusion to get together. This is the quote. Electricity has the power to speed up regrowth. Bing, bang, bong, you have the solution.
Wow.
Bing, bang, bong, bada boom, bada bing, boom.
He really either didn't read Frankenstein or read
did.
it and thought, yeah, that's the one. I'm on Frankenstein's side. Like he used electricity. Don't you get it? That's the life force.
It's electricity.
Oh my God. And I know, like back in that time, they thought electricity was pretty wackadoo.
Pretty magical.
And
yeah.
oh, wow.
The article concludes, the surgeon has not elaborated on the role electricity will play in the operation. So by 2019, Canavero said he'd moved the Heaven Project, out of China, and the research is now unfolding elsewhere, but he won't say where. And Ren, the collaborator, for his part, insists all he really wants to do is fixed, damaged spinal cords, not necessarily the full head-body transplant. I believe between none and all of that. Depending on the medical communities in the world, Ren says, if we get permission in the future, of course, I'm still interested to do HT, that's head transplant.
Of course. Once does it so many times, you just got to...
Doing an HT on Monday so I can shuffle that. We can play golf on Wednesday.
Yeah.
He's interested in doing it anywhere in the globe, he was reported. For now, his focus, Ren's, and I think also Canavero's, is on testing Fusogen, which is a waxy glue-like substance they claim they've used to help monkeys and dogs with severed spinal cords walk again.
It's your head glue.
Yeah, head glue. It's basically it's special magic.
What you do, you get the body, you wipe on the head glue, bit on each side.
Yeah.
Make sure they join.
Clean up the nerves, put a bit of goo in the middle, bada bing, bada
sort
boom.
of wipe them sideways across each other a little bit. You know,
the ones that spark with electricity, they're the ones that should be connected. Yeah. So where are head transplants at today? The most recent
no
reference,
further.
Yeah,
I mean,
none.
No further.
None. No, I'm talking to you right now from a different body. I had a little rummage around. The most recent thing I could find was in the UK Telegraph from December 2019. Bruce Matthew, who's the former clinical lead for neurosurgery at Hull University Teaching Hospital National Health Service Trust, says the first human head transplants may be just a decade away.
Sure.
So may flying cars, aliens, living forever,
blah, blah,
blah.
It depends.
But he said, look, one of the things he has a problem with Canavero's method was his method involved, like I mentioned earlier, severing the head just straight off, like go a couple of vertebrae down and go zook. Whereas he thinks, this guy, Bruce Matthew, it's all about bringing the spinal column, the nerves with it, etc. So that you can
what
rewire.
It is, you sort of cut a little bit in the donor and a little bit in the recipient, and you sort of cut and join, cut and join, cut and join, cut and join. And so you got to do this folding operation where sort of two bodies and you sort of slowly switch them across.
And eventually, I'm thinking more Predator style, you just grab the noggin and pull out the spinal column.
Yeah, well, that's...
Then you roar triumphantly and
not
jam
neat,
it in.
not neat.
No, it's not neat, but it's good cinema. So finally, after speaking to a bunch of medical journalists, medical experts to explore this topic, a journalist who was writing in the Independent, Christopher Houghton, he said, look, he pinpointed a problem that even the most perfectly formed head transplant procedure could never mitigate, which is we have literally no idea what this could do to Spiridonov's mind, the original guy. Speaking on behalf of these experts, they said basically it could result in a hitherto never experienced level and quality of insanity. And I thought, yeah.
I agree. If you're getting, they say to you, here's a surgery. Positives, new body.
Yeah,
negatives, possible hitherto unexperienced level and quality of insanity. You're going to go crazier than anyone has ever gone.
In a way we don't even
before.
know how to think about, better yet measure and help.
It's we've got the dimensions, we've got up, down, left, right, forward, backward, time, and then your level of crazy.
Yeah.
It's on a new one.
Yeah, we need string theory to understand
It's a new thing. It's beyond anything that we can imagine.
Because it would be. I mean,
of course it would.
What do you do with that?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And look, and in his defense, Spiridonov, his body probably made up a big part of his mind already. He's thinking about how it's hurting and how it's dealing, and then to suddenly,
I can't even imagine. Like, I look, honestly though, if I was in a situation where my body was fucked, my brain was working, and they said we got an option, of course I'd be tempted because I'm a believer in being alive for a long time. That said,
temptation is going to get you to open up the books and get to Google it up, have a look and have a think and have an imagine. But that's a big gap.
Well, because I imagine, as we've discussed repeatedly on this podcast, my idea of a living hell is being, buried alive in a box.
Buried alive in a box.
So imagine
in someone
sense,
else's body.
Yeah. So in a sense, it could be like you're buried alive in a box by having your head put on a body that doesn't work properly, etc.
And on fire.
By the
slow fire.
Fire would be welcome by then.
Very slow fire.
Candles. Take my mind. Candles. Just one. Just an oil burner. A little tea candle. Yes, I'm not signing up for it in a hurry.
Or you're forced to read all of the tweets that say what a terrible president you've been. That one. Over and over forever.
Oh, there's a hell we hope for. For
someone.
The
Wholesome Show is me, Will Grant, on my own body, on my own head. Him, Rod Lamberts.
Possibly on my own body and head. It's hard to
tell
anymore.
Who knows anymore? Brought to you by the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science and G'day Studios for Freedom and Future. I don't know.
That's my new chest tat.
For Freedom and Future.
For Freedom and Future.
We'll see you soon, listener.